So hi, this is Nick Williams. I'm sitting here in London with my friend GinaWD2 in your beautiful home. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, yeah,
Great.
Thank you.
We've had one conversation about your own journey and how wealth dynamics was a bit of a saving grace for you and helped you kind of, reimagine and reinvent yourself in relation to your business. So let's have a conversation now, if we can, about a bit more detail about, well, what is wealth dynamics? It is a profiling system, and I know many people might even have a feeling of like, oh, I don't want to fit myself into a box because I'm bigger than that. But my experience of wealth dynamics, it's not about fit yourself into a box. It's more about understanding your true nature and how you can flow. Is that how you see it?
Yeah, it certainly gives you permission to be who you are. And you mentioned about the profiling system, which is part of this kind of 8 ways of working. And I know that in my work, I'm a star profile, which means I'm very good at developing a brand and messaging, which is what I've done for years.
Yeah. You used to run a PR company.
Absolutely.
For everyone watching, so you were brilliant at being the star on putting other people's messages out there.
Yep. Personal Development Centre launched a whole load of careers from that and promoted feng shui teachers in my feng shui school. So I did that, but when I ran my business, I also, because I had great administration staff around me, but I didn't bring in key players to do things in this cycle of how the energy moves in wealth dynamics. I didn't bring in the people at the other end of the spectrum for me. So I would end up doing those jobs, and I was able to, because I was an entrepreneur, had my own business. I did those, but it put me out of balance to do them. So some jobs I could 5% of energy, other jobs took 95% of my energy to do things, and I'd get out of my flow or I didn't do them. So one thing when I came across wealth dynamics, one thing I realised when I look back over my businesses was how I hadn't optimised things. I create something new, tell people about it, really excited, get the messages out, mailings. In those days, Nick, there was no internet, so it was packaging 16,000 envelopes. Tens of thousands. It was costly in sending those things out, but anyway. I needed somebody to look at my business and optimise it, which is what in Wealth Dynamics is called a Lord profile, which is looking at how, rather than the business built around me, and there's only one me, and how can I be at the centre of that universe, which is the kind of the star energy, and on the other side of the spectrum, which is more known as extrovert. It's not about personality, it's extrovert thinking, externalised thinking and communication, where on the other side is this more introvert way, and it's not about not being social, it's introverted thinking where you go in for the answers, or you go look to the manual or the system or the process. You build yourself out of the system and you create a system. You get one right, and then 10, then 100, then 1,000, then 1,000,000, and you make a penny or a dollar or more per unit, and you do thousands of them. And that's what the Lord profile does in optimising. So, and there's 6 other profiles, but in looking at that dynamic of the star being the messenger and the promoter, and then not having somebody optimise, if you have that missing, it's very hard to see that it's missing because you don't think about it from where you're standing with your energy. So you miss it in the business, and yet the business needs it. It needs all of the energies that Wealth Dynamics has. So you're going to default to one, and either side of that you're going to be able to do 2 or 3. Going to be most in flow when you're doing one of the profiles and one of the games, but there's at least 5 you're going to miss out on, your business won't have.
So you need to bring those in.
You do.
So so for those watching, my understanding of wealth dynamics, what I've got from it is, like you're saying, number 1, it's the recognition of your natural state of flow and realising what your profile is. Secondly, it's the kind of permission to be that, isn't it? Yeah. But then thirdly, and I think what you're saying, and for me is equally important, is to recognise the bits that you're really not good at and you're not supposed to be good at.
Exactly.
And therefore you need to have other people in your sphere, either that you work with as employees or as collaborators, that can fill in the missing bits which are necessary to your business but which you can't personally provide very well. Is that right?
Absolutely. You've hit the nail on the head when you said about the weaknesses, because we're taught in school to brush up on all the ones where we've got B, C and D grades, and the A grades, you got the A grades, focus on what you're not good at, which is completely wrong.
Which you're never probably going to get good at anyway, because it's not your natural flow.
If you're not good at numbers and accounting, which but
why would they be? I'm glad I've got an accountant who does all that for me.
But I mean, understand what you need to know, but don't immerse yourself in it. Let somebody who's fluent in that. It's about fluency. So it's a great way to accept that those are your weak areas, and I think what we need to do now as entrepreneurs, working in our own personal enterprises, is show up and say to people, this is what I'm great at, and don't ask me to do this. You're going to get more value out of me by doing this. That's your currency. And if you explain that to people and share that with people, and they go, oh, I could use you in my business.
Yeah. Because then you become a kind of go-to person for something.
Exactly.
But I guess it's got to start with self-awareness, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
That we have to know what we're passionate about, what we're competent at, and when we're in our flow. That if we were doing this day in, day out, this is what we can do brilliantly. And know that that other stuff is not what we do brilliantly.
Yeah.
So therefore we can also, like you said, we can communicate that to other people and say, if you want this kind of thing done, I'm your person.
Yeah.
If you want that kind of stuff done, I'm not your person.
And don't you think, I mean, you must have experienced in working with all the entrepreneurs that you work with, that there's a low level of self-awareness in who we are and what we're good at.
Yeah.
And it's not inculcated inside the education system to, I can do this and I'm proud of this. It's, maybe I can do that, or, oh no.
Yeah. And part of my motivation for actually having this conversation and being able to get this information out there is, for so many people, even running your own business is not a career option. It never was for me when I was growing up. Nobody ever said to me, well, one thing you might do when you grow up is run your own business.
Oh, never.
Never even considered. So I'm a passionate advocate of running your own business could be a career option. But then for many people it's like, well, any business will do. And for me it's going even beyond that to say, but so what kind of business would you be in your flow operating? Where would your natural talents, where would your natural gifts be most maximised, in what type of business, doing what kind of thing with what kind of people? And that's why I think Wealth Dynamics does give that self-awareness and insight to help people do that.
Yeah, another really key thing about Wealth Dynamics is, from my mind, it's a map for collaboration. And I think, sometimes you hear people referred to as being a self-made millionaire, and you think, self-made?
Never.
What does that mean? And I know that
Unless they've got a printing press, that's the only way they could do it.
Nobody's self-made, but there are certainly people who collaborate more. And it's working with women, I can see that collaboration is much more familiar to the feminine way, and the feminine way in business. And business and commerce has been devised by men, the masculine, and we need to look at new ways of business which are more feminine, for men and women, more feminine way of working, and collaboration is one, because there's so much masculine language about win-lose and sports and gameplay,
the competition, military, and all that stuff.
I know, but that is the language within business. And so I've been exploring for a few years about collaboration, and I was excited when I could see how Wealth Dynamics really gives the keys to that, because you can see you need 8 energies in the business. Definitely, it's 4 core energies which follow the seasons: spring, summer, autumn, winter. You can't have a year without those 4, although we sometimes have weather where we have 4 seasons in a day, but you do have 4 seasons through the year. So you have this natural flow of energy of life, natural flow, replicated in business, and you need that in your business. So, if you're a spring energy, you can't show up as the other seasons, but knowing that you need them, it means from the word go, you're looking out to partner and joint venture and associate or employ, whatever, work with people who are those other energies. And the wrong thing to do is the tendency to work with people who are similar to you. You're passionate about the same subject, you have the same kind of energy, and you get on, you work together, but you actually need people sometimes who totally press your buttons a bit, because they want the detail, and oh my goodness me, and when you're working at it from that angle, you can't see their value. But when you reframe it as, that's exactly what your business needs.
That's exactly what I lack, that my business and I need.
And suddenly there's patience between this energy profile, the one that wants the detail and wants to slow things down, and the other energy that wants to gallop ahead and is skimming the details and has this big picture thinking. And you honour each other, because you can see, look, I will provide the big picture and the vision, I'll articulate it. What I need you to do is make it happen and optimise it and refine it, make it better, take it into the production system, communicate it with other people, but I will provide this ongoing vision, because my vision is big picture thinking. I can see ahead, but I can't see all the details that need to be done.
And that's not your job too, in a way, to work with somebody who can do that.
No.
Great. Well, I hope you've enjoyed watching this, and it's given you a kind of good insight into what Wealth Dynamics is, because I think it's very useful. And as I said, I think one of the things you said to start with, which was it's a self-awareness tool for people. I think that's one of the most valuable things. It's self-awareness and then the awareness of what you need as well as what you've got. So thank you for sharing that with us. Hope you've enjoyed watching this. There will be more videos to come. Thank you.